Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, it's crazy to think about the shift. When I was a young and dumb college-aged kid, watching Jon Stewart, Stephen Colbert, Bill Maher, John Oliver, finding myself agreeing with people like Noam Chomsky. When I was a young, naive liberal, a lot of the times I justified being on that side because of my view of the Iraq War. The left seemed to be the side calling out the warmongers. You know, that was something that resonated with me, and it's something that obviously is still very much part of my political worldview. I'm not exactly a fan of the endless wars and endless proxy wars, so it was easy for me to find a political home in these circles, and of course, at the time, Ron Paul libertarian-style circles as well. And so nowadays, I'm in a little bit of a confused state as I look into the world of liberalism, a world that I've completely abandoned, and I see the complete 180 shift on this particular issue. These people are insane warmongers. I mean, absolutely insane warmongers. I'm just gonna say it, folks. The Republican Party has become the party against endless wars and needless conflict. That's why Nikki Haley ain't doing so hot in the Republican primary process, and the Democrat Party has become the party of Dick Cheney, the party of John Bolton. And I'm not just saying it, I mean, these Democrat liberals, these top brass Democrat politicians, sound awfully similar to the John Bolton-style warhogs that we despise so deeply. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that as the Democrat Party becomes the party of big war. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, friends, so I just want to play this clip of Chuck Schumer here. I made the context quite clear in the intro. Just take a look.
We're at a turning point in America. This bill is crucial, and history will look back on it and say, did America fail itself? Why is it crucial? Well, if we don't aid Ukraine, Putin will walk all over Ukraine. We will lose the war, and we could be fighting in Eastern Europe in a NATO ally in a few years. Americans won't like that. If we don't help Israel defend itself against Hamas, that perpetual war will go on and on and on. If we don't help humanitarian aid to the starving Palestinians in Gaza, hundreds of thousands could starve. And the border, everyone has said it's chaos. You just saw Speaker Johnson. He said it's chaos. We have to do something legislative a few months ago. But what has happened, in answer to your question, so this is crucial for America. It's a turning point. History is going to look over our shoulders and say, did we rise to the occasion? To his credit, Mitch McConnell did. But too many Republicans, including Speaker Johnson, are just scared to death of Donald Trump. Donald Trump has said he wants chaos. Donald Trump has said, well, wait till I become president. That'll take at least a year. Ukraine could be gone. The border will get much worse. War in the Middle East will get worse, maybe bringing us into it. He's doing it all for political reasons. And let me just say, will senators, the crucial question, the $64,000 question, the majority of Republican senators know this bill is the right thing to do. It's a compromise. I don't like everything in it. Neither does McConnell. But it's a compromise. That's the only way you get things important done in the Senate. We proved that 2 years ago in our bipartisan legislation. And will the senators drown out the political noise from Trump and his minions and do the right thing for America? It's a crucial question. History is looking down on every one of us right now.
Is it just me, or was that not a sinister sounding video? Is it just me, or was that not a threat? It certainly read as a threat. Chuck Schumer, Mr. I care about the little guy, Mr. Compassionate, I'm an ally to all victim groups Democrat, seems like a frickin' Bond villain in that video. Give us money to fund the Ukraine war and Israel war, or we're gonna send young American men to die. That is literally what I heard. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what the message was. Vote on this bill so we can give Joe Biden border powers so he can shut down the border right ahead of the election, making it seem as if he's solved the border crisis overnight, only to open the valve again probably mid-November. Give him those powers, or we're sending your kids to war. That is completely freaking wild. That is so much worse than literally anything that Lindsey Graham has ever said. And Lindsey Graham, I mean, I thought he was the worst. I mean, the Democrat narrative these days involving Russia is completely unhinged. I don't know what it is. It obviously started with Hillary Clinton pointing the finger at Russia, Russia this, Russia that, Russia, Russia, Russia. Now it's their simple go-to for political demonization. Nancy Pelosi has been facing a whole lot of protests from young Democrat constituents these days, and her response to these targeted protests are, well, actually, they're all just Russian bots and Russian agents. Remember that clip?
The suffering in Gaza. This is women and children, people who don't have a place to go. So let's address that. But for them to call for a ceasefire is Mr. Putin's message. Mr. Putin's message. Make no mistake, this is directly connected to what he would like to see. Same thing with Ukraine. It's about Putin's message. I think some of these protesters are spontaneous and organic and sincere. Some, I think, are connected to Russia.
And so they've created this dynamic with Russia that Russia's public enemy number one. It needs to be our absolute number one focus. And now with the war going on, it's Russia, Russia, Russia. Let's go to war with Russia. Start World War III. Whip the people up into a frenzy. Global chaos and wartime for all. Democrats have latched on to fear-mongering wartime tactics. Let's make an enemy, let's distract the public with this grave existential threat that we are now facing. Let's blow it out of proportion so we can make it all about evil Putin and evil Russia instead of what's going on domestically. I really think that's exactly what's going on. It's all one big propaganda campaign. And I feel like that because of how detached from reality it all seems. The idea is that Russia is this existential threat to the West. I'm not so sure that that's the case. You know, when you make a grand claim like that, you need to back it up with evidence. What's the evidence that Russia is hell-bent on world domination? That it's a Nazi-style Reich that wishes to move further endlessly westward, conquering Western civilization one step at a time as we know it? I don't think Russia is powerful enough to ever be able to accomplish a feat of that magnitude. It seems totally unrealistic, and I have a hard time believing that that's what the Russian will is. You know, Russians live among us. You could travel to Russia. We've had decent relations with Russia since the Cold War. Now all of a sudden they're hell-bent on destroying us and taking over the world? They want to outcompete us, they want to mess with us, they want to engage in information warfare, obviously. But the idea that Russia is just going to go full blitzkrieg on everyone's borders just doesn't make sense to me. It seems more like a territorial dispute between two Eastern European nations. Similar to what we've seen before in Eastern European wars. The Democrats are taking a foreign, faraway war, and they're attempting to make it a domestic issue to keep siphoning money from the taxpayers, and most importantly, to create wartime propaganda that's mostly fear-mongering propaganda. Give us money, focus on this. This is a national security risk. Your children are going to go to war if we don't fight against Putin. Listen to us, vote for us. They're attempting to get people riled up, emotional, scared, so they can control the minds of the electorate and hopefully motivate them to go to the ballot box because, oh, those evil Republicans and that Vladimir Putin bot known as Donald Trump is going to bring fascism to the United States. These are their war-mongering propaganda tactics as of late. This is the kind of stuff that makes you scratch your head and go, yeah, this side is crazy. I cannot associate myself with this side. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is saying, I want people to stop dying.
Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying. Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying.
And that seems like a whole lot more of a rational approach, but most importantly, an approach that I feel more safe in, less fearful in. I don't want to give in to the fear-mongering propaganda that creates global instability and chaos. I want an end to the chaos. An end to funding these endless conflicts and getting involved in places where we probably shouldn't. The Ukrainians and the Russians have a very complex history. I don't pretend to know it all, but what I do know is that their conflict is their own, and we should probably be acting as a neutral, mediating force rather than fighting a proxy war using Ukrainian blood as a foreign policy currency while we further cement Russia as a clear enemy rather than ally. I don't know, that's my view. Some people say I'm crazy, but for me, this is just what makes sense. Whatever Chuck Schumer's selling, I want no part of it. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.